Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, we're obviously going to be talking about Camp Cretaceous. The first season of the brand new Jurassic World Netflix show has just premiered, and I want to give my own personal thoughts on it, as well as hear from all of you about how it turned out. So before I go any further, I just want to say that in this video in particular, it's just going to be my spoiler-free thoughts on the show. So you can still watch this video if you've yet to see the series in full. A giant spoilery discussion video will be out in the very near future, but for now, I just want to give my general thoughts. So first and foremost, I went into Camp Cretaceous expecting a Jurassic Park animated series that would focus most of its runtime on a kid audience, which for the most part is quite true. And I think children everywhere that are fans of the Jurassic brand are going to have a lot of fun with this season. That being said, I was also pretty happy with all of the material in these 8 episodes that I got enjoyment out of as an adult. The very first thing you even see in this show is a throwback to the second and third Jurassic Park movies from when I was a kid, so seeing that immediately right after I pressed play was pretty fun. Now, the bulk of Camp Cretaceous is really centered around following these 6 kids around the island, while the Indominus Rex runs rampant, and they try to figure out tons of different ways on how to survive. The show does offer up some side plots with camp counselors looking for them, and there's the occasional lore dump that builds the universe surrounding Jurassic World up even further, but for the most part, it really is dedicated to telling a story that only involves these kids. Speaking of which, I enjoyed most of the characters that we see on screen. Now, sure, there was some stuff in the show that I personally found a little annoying, but that's mainly because that's how you're supposed to feel about a certain person, so I guess it wound up working at the end of the day. I think my favorite character actually turned out to be Brooklyn, now that I think about it, although Darius and Yaz seemed equally interesting as well. One thing I do want to point out and mention is that the story revolving around Darius was surprisingly way deeper in real world than I thought it would be. And it kind of impressed me how they were able to tackle subject matter like that in a kid's show. Tonally, I guess I'd say Camp Cretaceous felt like, to me, something very similar to Disney's Tarzan movie from 1999. I don't know why, but every time I tried to figure out what I would use to describe the show's tone, that movie in particular kept coming up. Actually, you know what? This felt a lot like Goonies. A Jurassic Park version of Goonies. I think that's an accurate description. When people die and get eaten here, it's not really graphic at all. In fact, from my understanding, the only use of blood was on the eggshell from when Bumpy hatched. So while the show does have violence, it's still made with kids in mind and gets by with more than you'd expect. That being said, I actually started to feel bad for one of the dinosaurs. There's a moment in the series where the kids fight back, and damn did they fight back. God, talk about overkill. That was kind of crazy, actually. You'll know what I mean when you see it. Now, as far as negatives go, honestly, I enjoyed every single one of these episodes except for one in particular, which I just thought to be majorly out of sync with the rest of the series. The second to last episode is, in my opinion, the only point in time where I felt like what I was watching wasn't really going anywhere, and I just didn't have fun with that one much at all. Things got really slow, and while they do some good development with the characters, it just felt a little weird for me how they did it. And I think that's all I can really say without getting too descriptive. Still, apart from that, literally every other episode I thought was done exceptionally well. The dinosaur animation and the implementation of the park and what goes on there every day was something I had a lot of fun with. And even though it was aimed at kids, I had a great time. In fact, Camp Cretaceous kind of made me wish I had kids of my own to watch it with, honestly. It sounds weird, I guess, but that's just how I felt. I've grown up loving Jurassic Park and The Lost World from my own childhood, and now I'm watching this generation get the Jurassic Park animated series I never had, and I just kind of feel like this is the perfect way to get more kids into this whole franchise. We totally should have gotten something like this in the 90s. I'm trying to think of more things to criticize, and while I'm sure that there is stuff in here that could warrant some polishing, I'm having a difficult time finding exactly what to say. I can't honestly see anyone ripping Camp Cretaceous to shreds in good faith unless they have an axe to grind with this franchise and just hate the fact that this kids show exists. But even then, I'll obviously have a lot more to say and a lot more time to say it in my spoiler video, but for the time being, I just kind of think this is a decent show that offers up a lot of cool things for Jurassic Park fans. Apart from the one episode that I didn't like, I think it's quite good. In terms of canon, there is a lot of cool new things to unpack here, and I'm sure they'll be expanded upon in further seasons down the line. We get explanations for why the Carnotaurus wasn't in Jurassic World, why the Sinoceratops was in Fallen Kingdom, rival companies working against Mizrahi and InGen, as well as a set of events that play out directly in tandem with what happened in the 2015 film. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty fun show. All in all, it's just good to finally see Jurassic Park getting the proper world expansion that it deserves after so long. We've had stuff like Rebels and Clone Wars and those MCU shows for other franchises, but Jurassic hasn't really ever had anything like Camp Cretaceous officially get released and recognized as canon. So for their very first animated story set within the movie's timeline, I think they did a good job. You can tell a lot of love and care went into this thing, and I'm hoping to see even more of it in the future. Anyways guys, those are all just my own thoughts and opinions on the subject matter. What do all of you think? What were your thoughts on Season 1 of Camp Cretaceous? I'll be doing a future spoiler discussion video soon, so be on the lookout for that in the very near future. I'll be able to go in way more detail with my thoughts on every specific detail, and it'll just be way more expansive than this spoiler-free version. Anyways guys, hope you all had fun. Whatever your thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video, and hope you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.